very welcome to the last class of 25. And for this practice, I've prepared the usual blanket. Maybe it's more for the head than to cover your body, and a block. Nothing much else is required at this point. So perhaps feel free to arrange these things around you. And sorry for the light disruption. And then let us begin, as we choose to very often, lying down on our backs. What I would love to focus on this morning, and perhaps you carry that into the day, is the flow of energy, so that we maintain a steady flow of energy for ourselves, and perhaps the opportunity of carrying that idea into a more smoothly flowing 26. So beginning lying down, perhaps allowing yourself to find a comfortable position. I don't know what that means for you. For me, it often means knees bent at the beginning. Sometimes the legs feel good out long. You might allow the arms to find a resting point. Shuffle a little bit. As you find your comfort, a few more wiggles, or perhaps the turning of the head. And I suggest we begin with a few reset breaths. As it is a practice after a longer pause, perhaps a nice way to arrive in the practice. Taking a deep, boisterous breath in through the nostrils, a little top-up breath, a potential hold of the breath inside of the body, and then blowing it out like through a straw in a thin, slow stream. So repeat that, deep breath in through the nostrils, little top-up breath, holding if possible, and blowing the air out ever so slowly through pursed lips. And then one last round for the reset breath. Deep breath in through the nostrils, little top-up breath, potential hold, and slowly releasing the breath in the thin stream. And allowing yourself to breathe naturally in your comfortable position. And perhaps beginning to acknowledge the energy you have just managed. You might already feel a little bit different to when you arrived. Perhaps you feel the change that has occurred in your breath, part of your energy flow. And perhaps you can come to a few deeper flowing breaths in and out of the nostrils. As you might take your breath or visualize it from the feet all the way up through the whole body towards the crown. And then softly breathing out as you watch the flow back down in the opposite direction. So you're breathing in from the feet to the crown of the head, and you're breathing out from the crown of the head down to the feet. And as you continue that for a few breaths, you might choose to focus on all the energy that you notice throughout your being. While we are visualizing to breathe through the physical body, it is also our energy body, and with all the deeper layers too. So acknowledging where is energy, where perhaps do you feel lightly depleted, Or maybe where do you feel the blockage? And rather than fixing, just acknowledging for now. After your next exhalation, let go of this observation and the deeper breath. Feeling your body perhaps relaxed on the mat. And if your legs are extended, you could now bend the knees, step the feet down. Before, you might lift your knees up over your chest and place one hand upon each kneecap. As you breathe in, push the knees away from you. As you breathe out, circle them outwards and draw them back in towards your chest. So for the inhalation, pushing the knees away. And for the exhalation, circling them out and drawing them in. Repeat that with your breath for another 3 rounds. Kind of managing our pace rather than mechanically moving, allowing this to flow along with the breath. You come back with your knees towards the chest. We will reverse. So now on the inhalation, circle the knees outwards and away from you. And as you breathe out, draw them back in together towards the chest. So we're inhaling to circle the knees out and away, and exhale to pull them back in. Repeat that for another 3 breaths. You might then keep both knees hugged in, maybe embrace them a little bit further and squeeze them down towards your chest. An option here on one of your out breaths to raise the nose up towards the knees. Then resting back down. You might now keep your right knee with you and step the left foot to the floor, or even extend the left leg out long. While your right hand remains on the knee, open the knee out towards the side on an in-breath. And then change hands and brace out to draw it lightly across for a twist. We keep that flowing for a couple more rounds. So while you inhale, open the knee, use your right hand. On the exhale, use the left and come into a twist. Once again, breathing in to open and out to twist. Now, you might like to hold that twist for a moment. If it's available, keep the opposite shoulder grounded. Support with the hand your knee. With that, your twist, whether you're encouraging deeper or you're holding in place. Gaze might be upwards or even turn to a side. One more breath. Then rolling back upon your back, letting your right knee roll out into reclined tree posture. For that, the sole of the right foot might rest against the inside of the left leg. Left foot might be flexed as if you're standing on it, and your arms might be lightly away from the body. If you choose, you can touch your thumb to one of your fingers, whichever feels right at this point. Lie here and breathe in as if you could draw energy through the roots and through the crown of the head, right towards your heart center. You might end up here with a holding of your breath, and then releasing the breath with a soft sigh so that the body softens. You could now help your right knee up, place the foot to the ground, and bring the left knee in towards your chest. Right foot can stay on the floor, or you might extend your right leg out long. Now we begin with the left hand, opening the knee out towards the side on your in-breath. Changing hands on the knee for the out-breath coming towards your twist. Repeat that twice more. So inhaling, open the knee. Exhaling, twisting. One more round. And then perhaps holding here. Same here, encouragement of moving deeper or supporting with your hand. Perhaps your left shoulder can be on the floor. If it feels right, you could turn the head. Gently rolling upon your back, placing the left foot down and letting the knee roll out to the side. And if available, the left sole will touch the inner side of the right leg. Flexing the right foot, opening your arms out back into branches, maybe joining two fingers together again. And as you lie in your reclined tree, breathe in through the crown of the head, the soles of the feet, and start to move all the energy in towards heart center. An option there to pause, and then a sigh out to release that. You might help your left knee back up. Perhaps your right knee comes up too. And you could choose to roll your whole body over to your favorite side. Then pushing the floor away as you come up to a seat and eventually towards a kneeling position. Now, if your knees feel challenged, please use a blanket underneath the knee. And we all have our knees at about hip distance apart, the hands roughly shoulder distance, and as usual, slightly forward from underneath the shoulders for more availability in your back. Grounding either through hands or standing on your feet. Grounding to shins and tops of the feet. On your next out breath, begin to round the spine into a cat. For the in-breath, start with neutral, lengthen the crown forward. Exhaling, cat position. Now you can stay with the neutral or raise your tail and gaze on your in-breath. And breathe out, still back into the cat. Make sure that you're still standing on all of your hands rather than the wrist. And keep that flowing for a few rounds. You might also choose to use an exhalation through the mouth. A good opportunity to release. Be that a blockage or maybe through the center of speech. If you feel you need to release a little bit more strongly, you could also stick the tongue out and expel the air as a lion breath. 2 more rounds. Find yourself in the neutral spine again. Take an inhale now to raise your right arm and perhaps open your body to the side. And with the out breath, aiming to thread the needle. As you reach your arm through, you could choose to rest there on the side of the head or the ear and upon the shoulder. Or you might use a block, a nice support for the head to be a little bit higher, but also for the shoulder to hang free. Your choice. You could even leave your left hand down in a comfortable position, or you might step up onto your fingertips and gently push the floor away so that the left shoulder begins to rise, the twist in the upper part of the spine to deepen. If all of this feels comfortable and supported, you might even take your left arm gently behind your back. Perhaps noticing that energy is not always flowing linear. There's also energies on either side. Perhaps a good time to also focus on the favorite side. Bringing your left hand back down, push the floor away, and if it just raise the right arm again as you inhale, and then land the hand back down as you exhale. Changing sides, left arm might lift, breathing in. On the arm, but reach it underneath, and you've got the same option. You can rest the head down onto the floor, or you might rest it down upon the block. Some of you might remember my left shoulder is not as happy as the right. So the block is a great support, not only for the head, but also for the shoulder. You're feeling good here, you might rise up onto the fingertips, raise that right shoulder a bit further. Or you might even choose to bring that arm behind your back. As you aim for stability and reasonable comfort, notice the energies on this side of your body. Placing right hand back down and releasing back up as you might lift your left arm once more and then landing back on all fours. As you breathe out, round the spine again. Extend the spine to neutral and extend the right leg out onto the mat. Perhaps extending right out to the heel of that foot. You might choose to hold here or lift the other knee as well. We're changing sides, so back both knees to the ground or just the right one, extending the left leg out onto the floor, pushing back out for the heel of this foot. Releasing both knees back down onto the floor, and I'll leave you a choice for a very comfortable position. I will choose a block. If you have a bolster, this might be a good choice for you. Perhaps you like to sit on a folded blanket. I am suggesting to sit here in easy pose. However, you could also cradle the bolster between your legs, sit with legs extended. As usual, there's many options for an easy seated position. Although Sukhasana is easy pose, I believe that it's more about the ease than the shape itself. I would love now to continue with the mudra for energy flow. It is Vittam Mudra. I will come up to the camera so you can see more easily how it's placed. It's placed in front of the lower abdomen. Both hands are lightly cupped and they're slightly away from each other. Once your elbows are snug by your side, you might now choose to lower your gaze or close the eyes. While you breathe in, let the hands move slightly further apart. Not a big movement, just a small one. And when you breathe out, let them come a bit closer. Staying away from each other though. So inhaling, hands moving further apart. Exhaling, the distance becomes smaller. So you might choose a deeper breath to move the hands apart and a longer out breath to bring them in closer. Do this for a little while, moving hands out and in together with your breath. The awareness is on your breathing, but also within the space that lies between the palms of your hands. A more subtle energy, perhaps, that feels stronger over the time you focus and play with it. After your next out breath, hold the hands a little bit closer and perhaps hold on to the energy that you might be able to feel between your hands. Now this is your energy. You can take it where you feel you might need it, within your being or within your physical body. Perhaps placing your hands there. Taking a few deeper breaths to take in this energy with wherever you have chosen to place it. You might then gently release your hand and allow a moment of gratitude for caring for yourself. You might blink your eyes open. There's a possibility to change towards the standing position. You might take your block towards the shorter front side end of the mat. That is for much later though. As you come to stand here at the front side end of your mat, allow the feet to either be with big toes together and heels apart or hip distance. The arms by the sides, but perhaps the hands are looking forward. And you might encourage your inner heels towards each other to build a good foundation on which you might stand. Let your breath slightly deepen, preparing to move. And on the next inhalation, you might raise your arms and perhaps even your gaze. Bring the hands together, soften your knees and fold forward and down to Uttanasana or forward fold. For the inhale now, wave your spine long, fingertips might press against your shins, spine is straight. And on the next out breath now, stepping your right foot down the mat. I suggest to place the knee down onto the floor. Again, blanket is welcome here. You might leave your right hand down on the ground. Could slide your left hand up to the side of the waist and take a deep breath to turn the left shoulder open into a twist. Now, if you like, and the hand feels a little bit low, you could use the block here too and help yourself to turn a bit deeper. So perhaps bringing some lightness into that twist in your upper body and strength down into the limbs supporting you. An option, if that's right for you, to extend your left arm upwards or let it wrap behind your back. Inhaling. And as you exhale, roll your arm and shoulder back down. Bring both hands down to touch on the inside of your front foot. You might wiggle that foot a little bit further forward and start to lean your hips towards the front if that feels good. Perhaps untucking your back toes. And for the elbows beginning to lower, you might bend your elbows. You could stay here and support yourself. Again, the block might be useful. You could place your forearms upon it. Or maybe for some, the forearms even touch towards the floor. If you feel a little bit stuck like I am currently, feel free to move a little bit in and out of this lizard lunge. You could also hold it steadily. Let your next breath bring you back up upon your hands or feet to lengthen your spine. And then let the hips come back. Perhaps your knees step back and ground back through your hands and feet. There's a choice to stay kneeling, or you might tuck your toes under, lean the weight lightly forward, and then roll the spine up, and instead come towards a downward facing dog. For the inhale now, let's lean forward into a full or kneeling plank. On the breath out, keep your elbows by your sides and lower down, forehead to the floor. Touching the tops of the feet down, cobra variation, while you inhale, lifting up lightly through the head and the chest. Perhaps your hands lift too, perhaps they help you lift a little bit more. Keep elbows close and shoulders down. Bhujangasana. And on the out breath, slowly release the head back down. For the inhale, push the floor away. And you might choose here again, either to stay on your knees, tuck toes under, and stretch out from fingertips all the way up and back to the tailbone. Or you might roll your spine back up for downward dog. Now, especially if you're choosing a down dog, you might want to paddle it out. There is a bit of movement possible on your knees as well, especially if your shoulders feel a bit tight or the neck. So allowing any movement that feels necessary. You might now bring your feet or your knees forward towards the front end of the mat. And change your position there into standing forward fold. For the inhale, finding a half lift, and the out breath to fold back down. Now keep your knees bent, feet firmly grounded, lifting the arms forward as you press the floor away. Breathe in to reach the arms up, and out to release them back to the mountain. Take a deep inhale as you encourage your inner heel, and a breath out from your mouth in Sasana. Inhaling, reaching arms back up. Touch the palms, soften the knees, and exhale, fold back forward. Inhaling, waving long for half lift. Exhaling, stepping your left foot down the mat, and maybe supporting the knee or lowering the knee down. And you could now choose to keep your left hand on the floor or place the block underneath. Right hand might come and start in the side of the waist. And as you breathe in, let the right shoulder open. Starting your twist, there's the option of extending the right arm or wrapping it gently behind your back. The same here, after an upper body twist, the limbs on the floor are supporting it. If the hand on the left side is better higher up, then the back could turn further. You might use your block. Slowly releasing arm and shoulder, bringing both hands down towards the inside of the front foot, wiggling the front foot further forward and starting to lean the hips towards the front. Same options here. You can stand on hands and fists. You might start to bend your elbows and sink deeper in. You could place your forearms onto the block, untucking perhaps your back toes. Or you could place the forearms onto the floor if that's within your reach. Notice if you're feeling reasonably easy within your stretch, or if you need to move a few times, or perhaps even all the way through the whole of the shape. All about feeling into the flow of our energies rather than getting even stuck in what we might experience as lengthening. You might rise back up onto your hands or fists and lengthen your spine before taking a step back with your right foot. From where you might land here again on or forward, or choose to tuck toes under, lean forward and roll the spine up for a down dog. Next inhale, let's roll forward into plank or kneeling plank. Hold tight, elbows by your side as you lower down onto the mat using your out breath. Touching the tops of the feet down firmly. You can lift up back to the same style cobra, a higher cobra, or push the whole body off the floor and make it an upward facing dog. In all cases, arms by your sides and shoulders down, holding for a couple of breaths. Then gently releasing back down onto the mat. On the in-breath, push the mat away. Same choices here. If you prefer to stay on your knees, tuck the toes under, stretch the hips up and back, reach your arms forward, or roll your spine back up into downward facing dog. Removing knees or feet back to the front side end of the mat, landing in Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Half lift for the in-breath, forward bend for the out-breath. Again, bend your knees and use the feet, reaching the arms up and letting them soften by the side. Engaging back into the inner heel, finding your tall mountain pose or Tadasana. On your inhale now, lift the right knee, perhaps the arms as well. On the out breath, bring the arms down and take a big step back into a lunge. Now bend both knees, perhaps your arms lifting again. Finding a high lunge as you settle down into both of your knees, maintaining the pelvis looking forward. Sometimes front hip here is drawing a little bit backwards. Your gaze could be forward or upward. And you might leave your right arm up and lower the left arm down, perhaps gently touching the back of the thigh. Gaze might come up towards the hand or remain forward. Exalted lunge. And inhale now to lift both arms again. Then lower your back heel down and expand the arms out for warrior two. As you align your front knee with your ankle joint, the back heel is slightly further out than your toes. From there, your feet energetically draw inward. Do you feel more stable and grounded? Your drishti or gaze might be forward towards the fingertips. Perhaps you envision a steady and smooth flow of energy coming right to the arms, extension of your heart space. A deeper breath in. You might now reach actually for your block. Have the block underneath your left hand. Right hand might end in the side of the waist. Drag the back foot in, or you might lift the leg directly off the floor. Flex its foot. Keep your gaze down. Start to open your hips. Stack your shoulders. Purely optional to extend the left arm in this half moon pose. Landing your feet next to each other and softening down to your standing forward bend. Take an inhale, and on the exhale, begin to roll the spine up to standing. Perhaps your shoulders get a lift and a shrug as you return to your mountain pose. Inner heels reactivating, body standing tall, stable, unlike the half moon that is usually moving. As you find the steadiness in your drishti and gaze here as well. Prepare on the next inhale to raise your left knee, the arms. Let the arms lower as you take a big step back into a lunge, bending both of your knees and perhaps your arms lifting up again. Settling into this lunge, and again here the front hip might lightly draw back, allowing you to find evenness around your pelvis, stability across the back. You could then lower your right arm down and place it gently to the back thigh by reaching up into the left, and perhaps the gaze comes up or it remains forward, holding your lunge. Inhale, both arms might lift. Exhale, lower your back heel and expand the arms out towards the side. Align front knee over ankle, back heel further out than toes. Then get the energy moving inwards between your feet. So you're activating your legs, pelvis, core. And while you might look forward, you could focus back on that smooth flow of energy. Perhaps there's a little softness in your shoulders as the energy moves right through the arms and your chest. Releasing the front hand, perhaps onto the block. Left hand might come to the side of the waist, and you could pull the foot along the floor towards the front, or raise the leg straight away. Flexing the foot once it's off the floor, beginning to stack the pelvis, stack the shoulders. Very optional to raise the arm. This time, land the foot far back and open your legs out for a wide-legged forward bend. Let the outer edges of your feet become parallel. You might start on your fingertips and lengthen the spine. Again, a block is welcome here as a support. And for the out breath, then fold all the way down. While your fingers might be on the floor, perhaps aligning with your toes, or the hands might land down, lift the shoulders gently up into their sockets. Keep the knees a little bit soft and lean the weight slightly forward within your grounded feet. You might now lengthen your exhalation. To release, start to bend one knee and then the other, get some movement into the legs, the hips again. Then bringing both knees down, perhaps one after the other, and coming towards a seated position. Maybe your legs extending out towards the front. As you shuffle your sitting bones, if you notice the seat is a little bit low, I suggest if you have a cushion or a folded blanket underneath rather than the block. Maybe you like to roll up the end of your mat instead. As you might start to bend your right knee and place the foot down onto the ground, or step the foot across to the other side. Take a hold with the opposite hand or the opposite elbow of the knee in front and place your right hand fingertips behind. Take a deep breath in and pull yourself up straight on the front leg. Then exhale and turn that into a twist. You might now focus on the left leg. Is the foot flexed? Is that leg active and helps you to stay grounded into the mat? As you inhale, turn the head, and the exhale, unravel the posture. We'll change sides. The left foot might step down, or you could choose to step it over the leg. Then here's opposite hand or elbow around the knee, left hand fingertips behind, flexion into the right foot to anchor, and a breath in to hug yourself up tall. Then a breath out for a twist. You might choose to steady gaze or close the eyes. And although this is our second side, be aware of this flow of energy through this pain. The taller you sit, the more the energy can swirl up the back. So maybe it is really just the fingertips down and that hug of the front knee that keeps you long and tall. Next inhale, turn the head. And on the exhale, taking your legs back out in front. You might like to remove your cushioning from underneath. If it was the blanket, bring it back there where your head might be landing. And leave the legs extended out long. If you like a bit of support, place the hands down behind to lower. If you like to work more strongly, lift the arms out in front. Take a deep breath in. And with the exhale, begin to roll the spine down. If you can flow down towards the floor. So it is where you get held up or uncomfortable. Release the arms down by your sides. Make sure you've got the block somewhere within your reach. Arms along the sides of the body as you bend both of your knees, placing your feet down, comfortable hip distance, reasonably close towards the buttock. And take a breath to tilt your pelvis and begin to peel the back of the floor, slowly raising your hips up. On the out breath, rolling your spine back down. landing your hips back onto the floor, broadening through the body. On the inhale, tilt the pelvis again, start to roll the spine off the ground, buttocks muscles are tense, helping you. And out breath to roll back down. As you land, the buttocks is releasing, softening. Go for another round. Tilt and squeeze as you breathe in to lift. Breathing out to roll back down. And to let go. Rolling up once more, this time to hold. So while you breathe in, squeeze and lift again. You might choose to bring your block underneath to support or choose to hold for a little while. If you're holding here freely, you might actively draw your tailbone towards the backs of the knees. Resting gently upon your shoulders, the arms might still be by your sides to support lightly. Vittam Savasana, or bridge pose. I suggest now for all to use the block. Perhaps it is halfway up, perhaps it comes down flat. I would choose the halfway point, feeling quite comfortable here, but maybe flat is more solid. Notice what support you need. You might keep a hold of the block once you've placed it under the sacrum. So making sure that all moving parts of your spine are hanging free. Then beginning to lift the knees up. Perhaps even extending the legs toward the ceiling. If you feel very supported on your block, you might release the block and let your arms drift out towards the side. This is a good opportunity to either fix your drishti at your toes, your gazing point, or close the eyes. You're welcome to move your toes lightly. You're also welcome to move your feet and ankles. The movement very deliberate and explorative. And when you feel you've moved enough, and that could be at any point, then let the movement go. Leave your legs softly up in the air. While your shoulders, head and arms ground you towards the floor. Same is your tailbone resting upon a block. Sometimes when we invert ourselves and even supportive like now, we become aware of the reversed flow of our energy. Assisting the functions, the organs, and general flow of bodily fluids. Perhaps after a while, you notice that you become heavier towards the earth and the ground that holds you, giving in to gravity. If your block is up in particular, please take a hold of it. Before we might all choose to bend the knees, bring them back towards the chest. Pause here for a moment. Notice how some of the blood flows back down towards the feet. And you might feel a sense of shifting energy. Before you might land one foot back down after the other, landing feet at hip distance. We're only lifting the hips enough to be able to remove the block and then rolling the spine down slowly. Take a deep breath in once you've landed. Perhaps hold the breath and let a sigh escape the mouth. Now take a note if you need any type of gentle movement. If you don't, but your lower back needs support, you might leave your knees bent. Wiggle your feet a bit further apart and let the knees fall inward. If you have a bolster, you might place that under the knees for Shavasana, or even extend your legs out onto the mat. Let them roll apart. The arms might come a bit away from the body. You could wiggle your shoulder blades under. Center the head, perhaps rolling it first, once to each side. You might then take another deep breath and an option to hold it before sighing it out. Notice how you might be landing back in your resting pose. You might notice a very gentle flow of each breath. You might notice a gentle flow throughout this resting body. See if you can focus your mind upon the flow. The flow of vital energy. Energy that nourishes the physical body, the energy centers, the chakras, the vayus, the winds within the body, energy currents, the energy lines and nadis, channels. Perhaps even visualize this vital energy flowing through your entire being. As you enjoy the flow and awareness of your energy, you could choose for the meditation today to stay lying down. I prefer a seated position for Vittam Mudra. So we're coming back to the mudra that we practiced at the beginning of the class. If you choose to join me in a seated position, please only use as much energy as is needed, and perhaps even leave your eyes closed or your gaze low as you transition to a supported seated position of your choice. No matter the choice you made, as in position for the meditation, bring your arms back down to the sides of your body and bring the palms to face at the height of your abdomen with the elbows bent toward each other. Hands are lightly cupped so you can hold the energy between the palms of your hands. Let's focus on that hold of energy for a moment. You might notice that your breath is very gently directed towards the pelvis and abdomen, allowing you to experience this area of your being as an inner spring of vital energy. You might use several breaths to sense how your abdomen rises and falls in synchrony with your breathing, naturally deepening your connection to your own inner spring. Experience your hands as an extension of your rhythmic breathing, expanding away from each other lightly as you breathe in, and softening back toward each other, breathing out. As your hands, breath, and abdomen move in synchrony, allow some time to sense vibrant energy awakening within your inner spring. You might be able to channel it into each area of your being, establishing the free flow of prana, life force energy, optimizing your level of health and vitality. As you breathe in, rest your awareness within your inner spring. And as you exhale, channel prana down into your legs and feet, nourishing these areas with vital energy. Inhale, returning to your inner spring. And exhaling, sense vital energy infusing your buttocks, lower back completely. The pulsing in synchrony with your rhythmic breathing, allowing this area to nourish with vital energy. Inhale, return to your inner spring, and with your exhaling breath, allow prana to naturally infuse your solar plexus, chest, mid, and upper back. Experience the areas expanding and releasing in synchrony with your rhythmic abdominal breathing, bathing them with vital energy. The legs and torso nourished completely now allow the life force energy to be channeled into your shoulders, arms and hands, filling your upper extremities. Now with your next inhalation, return to the vitality of your inner spring. And as you exhale, allow your neck and head to be bathed in life force energy. Experience these areas gently expanding and releasing in synchrony with your rhythmic breathing, nourishing them with prana. And then take time to allow the life force energy to radiate outwards from your inner spring, sensing your entire being expanding and softening energetically in synchrony with your rhythmic breathing. You might like to repeat 3 times after me. As life force energy flows freely through my being, I experience optimal vitality. As life force energy flows freely through my being, I experience optimal vitality. As life force energy flows freely through my being, I experience optimal vitality. You might now release the gesture or mudra and take a few breaths to experience energetic nourishment. If you are lying down, you might begin some subtle movement, eventually perhaps roll to the side, join us seated. You could then mindfully join the palms of your hands that were holding so much energy in front of your heart space, Anjali Mudra, and you might allow the thumb to rest toward the sternum. So let's complete this practice with the universal sound of Om, followed by 3 Shantis for peace. Let's inhale and exhale first. Then breathe in again for the Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. the awareness of our energies flowing smoothly, extending toward each other, the bow. Namaste.